What's up, guys? Welcome to Dare to Win Season 2, Episode 3. My name is Finn Hodges and I'm your host. And today's episode, I'm really going to focus on controlling what you can control in your early career and tips that will get you ahead and can help you stay ahead. Obviously, at the beginning, if you're trying to accelerate in business or you're trying to grow as a young entrepreneur or intrapreneur or grow in a company, your early years can frankly be really scary. And there's a lot that may feel like you can't control. There's a lot that's in other people's hands. You don't have a lot of money. So it's really important to focus on what you can focus on to make sure that you can grow your skill set as a person so that you can have the skills to either make yourself more money down the road in your own business or make someone else a lot more money, which will in turn make you more money. So really looking at those early years as a way to sharpen the sword to accelerate you in life. And I'm just gonna kind of throw out what I've learned in my experience. Obviously, you guys know a lot of what I've done. I've founded a tech company called Group, which is launching in September. I've driven over $1 million in sales online and worked as an entrepreneur in a startup where it started as nothing, ground zero, and scaled to over that $1 million. So anyway, I'm gonna jump right into it and talk about the first tip, which is learning. And a lot of people, they have this view on learning where it's like you want to do something, so you open up Google and you research for days and days and days, or you watch tons and tons of YouTube videos, or you go to tons and tons of seminars. I know a lot of people, they'll go to a seminar and then they'll go to the exact same type of seminar like 2 months later, and they're just looking for that one like piece of advice that someone knows that they don't know, and that's gonna like set them free and break the chains and like make them $1 million the next day. Unfortunately, that's not true, and a lot of people have this mindset around learning. That's the wrong way to approach learning when it comes to entrepreneurship or growing your career. You don't learn and then start. You actually start and then you learn. The best way and the most effective way and the fastest way to learn is by far through experience. That quote I just said is actually a quote from The Minimalist Entrepreneur, which is a great book by Sahil Lavangia. I probably botched the name, as I always do, but I really recommend you guys grab that book. And please don't make the mistake of watching tons and tons of YouTube videos when you could be out there in the trenches, like actually doing it. Trust me, if you put your back against the wall and you throw yourself into something, you are gonna learn way quicker, and the way you're gonna learn is through failure. So that kind of goes into not being afraid to fail as well. And the more you throw yourself out there, the more you're gonna create your own luck. And the only way to succeed at this is to stop looking at numbers and comparing yourself to others. That's an easy way to cripple yourself. Obviously, at the beginning, when you're just getting started in something, like you're gonna be a nobody. You're not gonna have followers, you're not gonna have money. You have to like build off of nothing. You have to lay the bricks and lay the foundation so that you can get to a point where you are someone and you can start kind of getting to that next level. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you start, obviously when you have 100 followers or 0 followers and no business, and you're comparing yourself to XYZ who's been doing it for 6 years and has $1 million business, I mean, you're gonna feel like shit and you're not gonna start, and you're gonna be going at it for 2 weeks and you're gonna be like, why the hell am I not this guy? I quit. Guys, the people you're comparing yourself to, they started at 0 too, and they've probably been doing it for years. In fact, they probably took years before they even saw their first little tick of momentum. They kept going. They weren't afraid to start at ground zero. So you gotta understand that you're not gonna have what you want in 2 weeks. You're not gonna have what you want in 2 months. A lot is gonna happen in your first year doing it, but it's mostly gonna be learning. One of my favorite quotes is, you overestimate what you can achieve in 1 year and you underestimate what you can achieve in 5 years. Really let that hit home, because that is facts. You overestimate what you can achieve in 1 year and you underestimate what you can achieve in 5 years. So don't expect to tomorrow, after you do a bunch of your research tonight, or in 6 months, once you start your new agency and you have no prior experience, to be like huge or really anything. It takes a long time to go from 0 to 1. That's a really good book as well, 0 to 1. But going from 0 to 1 is the hardest thing ever. So you have to be willing to be in the trenches and kind of eat the shit during that time. But I don't want to go off track again on the tangent there, but just stop comparing yourself to other is the key topic there. And then on that, I kind of mentioned it in the beginning, but create your own luck. By throwing yourself out there and by not being afraid to go do it and to offer your service and to show up every single day, day after day and fail, you are going to get luckier and luckier. It's funny because the people who work the hardest tend to be the luckiest people, and that's not a coincidence. Luck is created. Luck, people think, is like this rainbow leprechaun pot of gold term that is just randomly handed out to people. Sure, every once in a while someone's in the right place and right time, but for the most part, luck is earned. So go earn your luck. An example would be me in this podcast and posting on LinkedIn. These are two things that I've been doing for months, and trust me, I don't have a big audience at all, but I'm constantly sharing, constantly posting these podcasts. I'm staying consistent. Two of the biggest opportunities in my business career have come from this podcast and from LinkedIn, okay? One from each. Just, and that comes from all the things I said above. Me not comparing myself to others, me not stopping, me not looking at followers as a relevant metric, me showing my skill set. And, mind you, I put in 5 years of work before this, so I'm not talking gibberish, but I'm not like living in this comparison world, or I'm not trying to like grow for the wrong reason. And I've gotten 2 connections one from each of those platforms that have like skyrocketed my career and have really opened up a ton of doors for me. And they're monetary connections, meaning they are going to make me a lot more money. They're going to give me a lot more equity in my career. So it's not just a follower thing or a clout thing. So that's something that I really want to drive home as well, is create your own luck and don't look at the wrong things, okay? Don't just try to do things for clout or for social proof or whatever. You have to do things for the right reason. The next thing I would say is work really, really hard and erase everything you've heard of stop working hard, work smart. Okay, you have to get to that point. You have to lay the bricks by putting in the work. You're never, ever, ever gonna lay a foundation without putting in sweat equity, and you're never gonna be able to work smart if you don't work hard first. So yes, working smart is true, and you do always need to work smart while you're working hard, but you're never going to get to the point where working smart can outweigh the hard work until you work hard first. And guess what? At the beginning, when you don't know shit, how are you going to work smart? You're just going to hold yourself back by trying to work smart, when in reality, you could just be throwing yourself out there, working hard, and then through those failures, you'll learn how to work smarter, okay? But like, stop thinking of like those little quotes you see on Twitter or LinkedIn and letting those hold you back. The next thing I'll say is stop trying to fit in and stop trying to copy other people. You won't make anything happen by fitting in. That's, classic Drake quote, but it's true. Like, you have to be different. You have to be unique. Yes, there are things that work that you can model after, but you have to improvise and adapt. You have to be your own person, because if you want a unique selling point, if you want to be, first off, you have to be polarizing for people to love you. If you're just for everybody, no one's going to love you enough to pay you. That's one thing I've really learned. But I guess what I'm trying to say is, if you do what everyone else does, you're going to be like everyone else. What I'm trying to say with that is, like, if you try to act and post and fit in with what everyone else is doing, you're never going to stand out. You're never going to make anything happen. Your goal should be to create your own wave. And to do that, yes, you can look at other people and how they've done it for themselves. But remember, those people didn't blow up by fitting in either. People tried to copy them, and sure, they may have seen little growth, but that's not sustainable. Those people won't make it. The people who set the trends will, because they're the ones who created that wave, okay? So remember, improvise and adapt. The next thing I want to talk about, there's 2 things. I should have mentioned this at the beginning of the podcast when I was talking about learning, and you don't learn and then start, you start and then learn. Yeah, it comes down to building that layer of experience. So you're gonna need time to give yourself, to build the bricks, to go out there and know enough to create a successful company, or to create a successful whatever you're trying to do, be an entrepreneur or whatever, just create success. So you need experience, right? You need to see the market, you need to understand what's going on. And so stop prioritizing a salary over experience when you're just getting started. Stop looking for an extra 10 grand a year and making that be your decision maker, rather than what is going to give you better experience, more boots on the ground, seeing more of the operations. Like, guys, an extra 10 grand when you're 25 is absolutely irrelevant to your life. An extra 50 grand is irrelevant. When I tell you one thing you'll learn quick is it's very easy to make money and it's very easy to spend money. And what I'm trying to say is money moves. It comes in very quick. It goes out very quick, even if you're not making that much, okay? Stop looking at salary as the end all be all, because that's a very easy way to get stuck. If you're looking at salary as a metric and you take 130K, that's not going to move you anywhere in life. In 30 years or whatever, 15 years, when you're making 180K and that 50K increase was all you have to talk about, but inflation wipes that out anyway, you're going to regret not getting experience and learning skills that can make you create your own income significantly higher. Okay, I basically worked for free for my first year, which taught me, and I was in the trenches. Like, I was working long hours. I was not working smart because I couldn't work smart, but I was working long hours. That gave me these skills that outweighed people with 10 years of industry experience, and I say that with extreme confidence because I was boots on the ground. I was tapped into what was actually going on. It was when kind of social media was just growing. And I did not care about salary because I knew what was happening was sharpening my sword so sharp that I'd be able to outweigh any salary like that moment would give me down the road. So prioritize your experience, prioritize what you're going to learn. Yes, you need enough to live, and yes, you need to be compensated fairly, but nowadays that's kind of being blown out of proportion too, because fairly is increasing, at least maybe for the next 6 months until it all hits the fan. But I guess what I'm saying is experience will make you a lot more money than an instant salary, so think long term, okay? Always think long term. And yes, also a valuable skill you'll get from that is learning how to negotiate and learning how to increase your salary, or learning how to ask for more, which is, again, a really great skill to have. But when you're just getting started, don't look at salary as what you want to do. Look at experience that will make you more money. And I always recommend joining a startup, guys. Like, highly, highly, highly recommend it, because you're going to be a jack of all trades. Say your specialty is e-commerce, you're still going to learn logistics, you're still going to learn how they do the packaging, you're still going to learn every single thing about that business, okay? Joining a startup is the best thing you can do because you get to wear all the hats in the business, and you're going to be able to take those skills and apply it into whatever you decide to do, or you're going to be able to triple down on one of those skills down the road. But basically, that leads me into the next point, which is you need to build generalist knowledge and then specialized knowledge. So you need to be capable of understanding a lot of different areas, okay? You need to understand all the parts of your business or what you want to get into. You need to be able to wear all the hats, but you need to be a specialist in one area. What happens then is when you build the bricks, when you're able to start working smarter because you've acquired the resources, if you have the understanding of a broad range of areas, you can then know how to find specialists and build the systems for the specialists so that they can execute in that part of the business. And then you can use your time to focus on your strength and triple down on that area and then grow exponentially because you have specialists everywhere, but you have the generous knowledge to bring on the right specialists and to build the systems for them to go execute. Because oftentimes specialists, they're just head down and do what you tell them. They might not know the best system to grow. An example of this could be, say I want to build a software, okay? And I have this great idea for a software that's going to make tons of money. I know how to market it, I know how to sell it, like I'm going to crush it when it comes to selling the product, but I have no idea how to get it built. I'm screwed if I don't know anything about tech. I'm money if I have a generalist knowledge about tech, because I'm going to know the right people to hire, I'm going to know the right systems to put in place so that I'm aware of what's going on, and then so I can communicate with them, and so the speed of the project's going to go well, so I know what's being built is right, so I know I'm not getting ripped off, etc. You see the difference? Say I'm building, and this is the reason why a lot of creators don't build online businesses. They are specialists, they are money at creating content, on getting eyeballs, at marketing themselves online, but they don't have any generous knowledge on how to create a brand online because they don't know how to source product, they don't know how to source ingredients, they don't know how to source packaging, they don't know how to do co-packing, they don't know how to do logistics, they don't know any of that stuff, and they don't want to take the time to learn it. And those are two examples. Imagine you were a content creator with 1 million followers and you had a basic idea of how to do all that stuff, so you knew the right people to bring in to then execute on it. Home run. So that's why you need generalist knowledge in a lot of things, and then your own specialist knowledge, which you're going to spend most of your time on. In the software example I gave, once I found that team, because I had the generalist knowledge to find them, I'm going to focus only on marketing the hell out of that software and bringing in the customers. I don't have to worry about the tech because I built the systems. Generalist knowledge allows you to build systems. Systems allow you to scale. Scale makes you a lot of money. And circling back, the only way to get all that generalist knowledge is to prioritize experience, not a salary, and work in a startup. You have to learn, okay? Learn as much as you can, have boots on the ground. Don't worry about the money you're making at the beginning. Just worry about the experience and the markets you're being exposed to, the people you're being exposed to, the connections you're making. And then use that to create your own luck. You see how all of this kind of ties together? I hope this podcast gave you some clarity on how you can kind of go out there and start creating your own reality, start building that career you want. I've made a lot of these mistakes, but I've sort of accidentally done a lot of this right, which has helped me grow quick, and I'm seeing some serious rapid growth, which is exciting. So thank you guys for listening. Go out there and create your own reality. And remember, expect all of what I just said to not take 2 weeks, but to take 2 years. Actually, I'll end it on that. If you really want success as a young entrepreneur, you have to be willing to give it 2, 3, 4 years before you start to go from 0 to 1. And 0 to 1, in between that, it sucks. So you have to be willing to be at the bottom and finessing your way through learning and through building all these skills for quite some time. You have to be willing to not get any of that luck you're trying to create for quite some time. If you're willing to do that and you ride it out and you keep going and you show up every single day, you are going to very, very quickly explode. That's when people say, oh, it happened overnight. They don't realize that overnight had 4 years of nothing before that. Okay, so that's what I would say to that, is be willing to keep going. And honestly, the only thing you need is the mindset to be willing to endure those first 4 years, and then it's exploding. And by the way, 4 years, if you start at 21, you're 25 years old and you're going to start to see some serious success that most people never touch in their life. So if those 4 years, and it's probably not even going to be 4 years because of this age of the internet, and if you really put your head down and go, it's probably going to be 2 years. Okay, I guess what I'm trying to say is, if those 4 years scare you too much that you just want the safety of like a 40-year kind of average life, you know, no judgment, obviously that's great for a lot of people, that's what they want. But if you're trying to go big, don't be afraid to eat it for those 4 years and then, you know, watch what happens. So please let me know your thoughts on the episode. Follow me on Instagram by clicking the link below. Guys, if you got value from this episode, I'd really, really, really appreciate you sharing it with one of your friends and leaving me a review. Those reviews are going to help me grow, and it's going to mean the world to me. I'll catch you in the next episode.